In this video, we're going to look at how to multiply fractions involving negative numbers. So first of all, we need to remember the rules. When we multiply fractions, we need to multiply straight across, and also we're going to reduce the answer. So there are basically two steps. Multiply straight across, which means the top number times the top number and the bottom number times the bottom number. And also we need to simplify or reduce the answer. But we can also switch the order, so we can simplify first. So step one, you can multiply and then simplify. Or you can simplify, which is also called reduce, and then you multiply. So these two steps are interchangeable. Usually the second solution is better for big numbers, and so we're going to use the second solution. We always want to reduce the numbers first and then multiply. So that's the first rule involved here. The second rule involved here, if we have multiply negative numbers, and we need to also remember the rules for when we have a positive number times a negative number, we're going to get negative. If we have, it also works for division. If you have a positive number divided by a negative number, you also get negative. And so this rule can be explained as, so negative number means we have a debt, and say $5 in debt, and then when you times a positive number, whatever the number is, so if you say times by 2, and then you're 2 times your debt, you're still going to get debt. So that's why the answer still be debt. It's like basically doubling the debt. Okay, so we need to remember these two rules in order to do this question. So first of all, we're going to follow the rule of multiplying fractions. So we're going to multiply straight across. So we take 8 times negative 18, and the bottom is 9 times 24. If you do the first way and multiply 8 and 18 or negative 18 to get an answer, it's going to be a big number. And you multiply 9 to 24, you also get a big number. Then you have to reduce those big numbers down to smaller numbers. But we're going to use the second solution. So we're not going to multiply 8 and 18, 9 to 24. We are actually going to reduce the numbers from the top and the bottom. So if we look at the top number, there is 8, and we look also at the bottom numbers, 8 and 9, we cannot find a common number that can go into both. And then we're going to look at 8 and 24. Again, when you reduce the numbers, it's one number from the top, one number from the bottom. They don't need to line up. So 8 and 24, they both contain a factor 8. So we can divide both numbers by 8. So we have 8 divided by 8, that gives us 1. 24 divided by 8, that gives us 3. So 8 is reduced down to 1, 24 is reduced down to 3. So it's kind of like 8 and 24, since they both have 8, we're going to throw out 8. So both of them will throw out 8. So now they're simplified, so to 1 and 3. Now similarly, we can look at 9 and negative 18, because we can temporarily forget about the minus sign, just focus on the number 9 to 18, because they both contain a number 9. So we're going to divide both numbers by 9, so that gives us 1, and 18 is reduced down to a 2. By the way, the minus sign, we have to keep it because we didn't really do anything to the minus sign. Okay, so after we finish reducing all the numbers, and we can see the top, we're left with a 1 times negative 2. The bottom is 1 times 3. So let's write those down here. 1 times negative 2. And again, the number 1 is reduced from 8. And negative 2 is reduced, and reduce the number from negative 18. And this one is a reduced number from 9, and the 3 is a reduced number from 24. So once we get here, now we're going to multiply. 1 times -2, that gives us -2. And any number times 1 will be itself. Because if you have 1 copy of this, it's going to be -2. If you have 1 copy of 3, you get 3. So that's why whenever you multiply by 1, it doesn't really change the number. So that's what we get. Now, finally, we're going to use the rule. A positive divided by negative is negative. Also, a negative number divided by a positive number is also negative. And so we're going to have a negative number divided by 3. 3 doesn't have a sign in front of it. That means 3 is positive. So a negative number divided by a positive number, it's going to give us negative. And then when you divide 2 by 3, you will get decimals, but fractions are also acceptable answers. So when you do 2 divided by 3, you don't really have to turn them into decimals if you don't want to. So you can leave your answer as a fraction, which is -2/3. And notice that the number, the minus sign originally was in the numerator. But after I apply the rule, the negative number divided by positive number is negative. The minus sign is moved and put in front of the entire fraction. So this is the simplest answer we can get.